Hopefully you guys will get this. Main reason why I haven't made making videos is because, well, I'm having technical problems. Hopefully it'll be cleared up soon, but I don't know. Anyways, what have I missed? A whole variety of nonsense and shit that I have never seen in my entire fucking life. Charlottesville exploded, and then unfortunately a poor girl was murdered. A bunch of protesters had their meeting turned off by the local authorities, stupid KKK members. And then you had people like Mundane Matt saying that those anti-protesters had no right to be there, which they kind of did. You see, the freedom of speech protects everybody. That includes the KKK guys and the anti-KKK, or the anti-white supremacist guys. They both had rights to be there. And you can look it up all you want. Monday, Matt, I have no fucking clue what you're doing, and sometimes you confuse the shit out of me. Instead, you found a the one of few articles of a black woman grandstanding on the woman's grave with such lovely comments like, "Well, her mother is happy that her daughter died in her daughter's death could be used in this cause." Which, no, that didn't happen. Her mother was completely devastated. And so was the mother of the killer, who was on a wheelchair, basically denouncing her child, the child she gave birth to, the one who decided to run people over, and saying what a horrible human being he was because, well, he went after her with a knife. And I know that Monday Man's like, well, our government's supposed to make sure that no violence ever happens. And not exactly. Um, like I said, freedom of speech has both protesters and even anti-protesters can get up there and anti-protesting whatever the other protesters protesting, even up to the point when they start beating each other up and killing each other. It's a horrible thing to say. It is, especially after a poor innocent woman was killed, and maybe a few others. But our government, the only thing they did was they brought a bunch of SWAT members over and a bunch of cops. Whatever rights that the anti-supremacist guys were saying were taken away from them, that was taken away as soon as one of their members, yes, one of their members, hopped into a fucking car and decided to burrow down the fucking roadway and smash into it. And I watched this other, anti-supremacist video, which the guy was saying, well, we all had, rides for everybody. Well, if you had rides for everybody, let me ask you, where the fuck did the kid teleport his fucking car that he had on Facebook, by the way? How the fuck did he get his car all the way over there to run into the crowd? And he was in the white supremacy group too. There's about a dozen photos of him at the rally before he committed the murder, fucking with his anti-supremacist buddies. Yay! Like I said, what did Monday Matt do? Did he report any of that shit? No. What he decided to do was just find a black woman that was grandstanding with her article and then shame her. Of course, we're all talking about the same guy that when a white guy was kicked out of a black school, he decided to go to two cops with a shotgun or with a rifle and he gunned both of those cops down. Anything from Mundane Matt? Absolutely not. I mean, there was when the shootings were first reported that he said it was most likely Black Lives Matters people and that they were terrorists. But when it came out that it was a white guy who did it, not a peep. Not a fucking peep. And of course, Sheriff O'Pile is no longer sheriff, and that he was found guilty, and is going to probably be pardoned by Donald Trump. And anything from Mundane Matt? Not a fucking peep. I even got on a chat conversation with Mundane Matt, and he basically said, I didn't want to touch that with the 10-foot pole. Yeah, you don't want to touch anything when a white guy is proven to be a fucking racist. I think you're a sadomasochist when I'm saying mundane. You seriously seem to want to hurt your own group that you say you're a part of as well as yourself. But you don't want to report on any actual news that has actually happened. And Sheriff Pyle's not a fucking wonderful human being. I mean, I used to grow up in Arizona when he was sheriff. And I was forced to shake his hand over at his award assembly, and I had my half Native American friend there, and Sheriff Pyle just, nicely just goes into my ear and says, why'd you bring that spick over here? And then I wanted to fucking hit the son of a bitch. And I apologize to Hispanics for saying that out loud. And I'll apologize again if you demand it. But yeah, he said that to me in my ear, so that nobody else would hear it, because he knew that my Native American friend, who is by the way now dead from something else. But that's Sheriff fucking O'Pile for you. This is something extremely racist to a fucking child's head, ear, within his ear, so that nobody else can hear him say it. And of course, the anti-feminists and the whole red pill thing. Because people have been, showcasing the red pill and Boogie 297, who I have no arguments against, and I'm actually sympathizing for the fact that his mother abused him the way he did. And in a way, I sympathize because, well, I wasn't abused by my mother. I'm the exact opposite. Bludgeoningly beaten by my own biological father. I don't want to go into details, but let's just say he was the reason why I ended up getting adopted. Even though my mother was responsible for my brother's medical problems, she at least got it to my biological brother, who also was my adopted brother, but apologized to him. 4 years later, my brother dies of something else. So, when I discuss this onto a basic chat, or, when I'm hearing these people talk about the red pill and how all these women are violent, and I'm saying there's some inconsistencies here, because there are men who are violent towards their spouses, and I've witnessed it, and and I've said it with my own biological father. I get wonderful responses like, "Shut the fuck up! Your father should have killed your ass. You're a human piece of shit. You don't understand what we're trying to do." Look, and some people are like, "Oh, you don't sound like you've," and I'm basically telling them, look, I have Asperger's syndrome. I always sound monotoned and kind of emotionless. I mean, I witnessed my own brother as we've grown up, as he abused our adoptive mother in a way, and of course this was all because of the fallout of what our dad did to us. How he basically beat us. It wasn't until our biological mother got in contact with us and contacted him and apologized for what happened to him. And of course, when we meet our father, it's our fault. Everything's her fault. My fault. The government's fault. Never his. It was never Dad's fault, according to Dad. He had nothing to do with it. He was totally blameless every fucking time we talked to him. I mean, the man's sitting there fucking dying, drug overdose, and taking antipsychotics, the same antipsychotics that fucking Ozzy Osbourne is taking, because, that wonderful genius nearly killed his wife. And yet, it's somebody else's fault. Even even when I told him stories of what happened to us, he appropriately changed them to make it look like, you know, our mother was abusing us and all that other bullshit. It's like, that's not what happened. You know what happened. You just don't have the balls to get up and say it or apologize. I mean, my biological mother did, not him. And of course, when I hear on lovely little chat bullshit, yeah, well, it's just, you just don't understand what's going on. And you didn't watch the red pill, and you can go fuck yourself. Because you don't know who the real abusers are. I mean, yeah, my biological mother's a bit on the cuckoo side from the abuse. It's all just this giant tub of absolute methodicalness bullshit. Like I said, I sympathize with Bernie, or Boogie 297. But I can't bring myself to watch the red pill with my past. And I get really sick and tired of people who tell me, "Oh, you gotta go watch Red Pill," and it's like, and then I tell them what happened to me and all this other shit, and then they look at me and like I'm some kind of pariah and tell me I'm better off dead. I can't change my past. Bernie Boogie 297 can't change his. And so many other people who are abused by either their mother or their father or both can't change theirs. And if you want to know for some weird reason, yeah, my biological parents are separated. After they lost the kids. Well, actually, before. And that's why I don't like the male activist groups because they're full of shit. And they deliberately lie. They basically make up shit. And they still do. The reality is, you want to know what group tells the truth? Unfortunately, it's the SVU or, Vice, or where you just go in any police department and ask them who has the highest rate on domestic abuse. And unfortunately, women are very low at the list, and men are extremely high. And unfortunately, my biological father is in that list. But every time someone says they're gets into a YouTube video and says, "Oh well, my dad did this and that to me," they get treated like they're the enemy of the anti-feminist groups, and then they end up getting a shit ton of fucking bullshit on their asses. And you guys are saying, "Well, we need equal rights for everybody," but well, I'm pissed off at Mundane Matt for saying what he said. Saying that the anti protesters had no right being there. And this is a guy who says, "Well, I agree that freedom of speech and all that." Well, according to your freedom of speech, Mundane, anti-protesters were allowed to be there until a car came in and ran them over. Hearing that bastard Trump saying, "Oh, there's a few good people in those hate groups." Everything he said before and all that, I didn't care. I didn't care that he said violence on both sides. But the moment he said that, "Oh, there's some good people in the anti-Semitic groups," that's. I mean, I never liked the son of a bitch. I never really cared for Hillary. But, everybody wants to blame the anti group and who were legally allowed to be there. And if you say anything bad about Trump, that means you are a Hillary Clinton supporter and you didn't like Bernie Sanders. It's the same bullshit with this red pill nonsense. If you're abused by your father and you don't like the red pill shit, well, you're an enemy of the anti-feminist group. Even though I sympathize with Bernie Boogie 297, I would have voted for Bernie if he made it. But nope. My beliefs make me a pariah. Apparently, all these justice and social and other types of Democrats are all calling each other names and even switching their names around. Thank God I'm an independent. And apparently, they put their foot down, said that if you follow these bylines, you're an automatic evil person against America. And guess what? I fit all of them. And now I'm an evil person, and all that free speech and all that stuff. Now they want to stop people like me from talking. Because free speech stops as soon as you go against anything against what they believe. I have to believe in the red pill. I have to believe those anti-supremacists had more rights than. I mean, that the supremacist groups had more rights than the anti-supremacists, which, they both had equal rights to be there. But I'm an automatic pariah. Because, dad hit me, and I believed that both groups had the right to be there. And unfortunately, and ended in a horrible fucking disaster. And I actually feel sorry for both families in that incident. But both mothers. There's a little woman in a wheelchair who has to deal with the fact that her son's now a fucking murderer and a fucking racist. And then people were saying, oh, but he wasn't part of any of those hate groups. Yeah, he was. They took his camera, showed the pictures that were on the camera. Hell, they're all over fucking Google's images now. And hell, even the Facebook of him standing next to the car, which he, killed that poor innocent woman with. And they've gotten so many angles of the car just basically speeding down the road at high speed. Sorry, at high speeds. And then backing the way out and going the opposite direction until the cops took his ass to jail. Hopefully I'll get my technical difficulties fixed, but meantime, have fun. And fuck you, Mundane Matt. Fuck you.